Welcome back. Well, we finally have reached the most exciting stretch of the season until the playoffs, that is, which is that home stretch where the playoff standings are starting to come to light. The powerhouses are at the top, and of course, 3 teams have already clinched. We have the Aces, the Liberty, and Connecticut as well, who are going to the playoffs for sure, but the race at the bottom is exciting too. Let's start with the 3 teams that have clinched so far and how they sort of keep their foot on the pedal leading into this final stretch that ends September 10th.
Yeah, I think the things fell exactly how people would expect. You have the Aces at the top right there sitting at 28-4, then you have New York at 25-7, and then you have Connecticut at 22-10. I'm assuming that that's how most people thought it was going to fall. That's how I thought it was going to fall. So, you know, you saw, they say, if you are who you say you are, stand up, and those teams did.
What is the mentality being the Aces having that dominant season? You know you've already made history, but history means absolutely nothing if you don't win a championship, right? So.
Oh man, the pressure. Yeah, no, I mean, we've seen teams do it before. I've been a part of teams where you had championship hopes and don't get it at the last minute, or you have great seasons. You know, I even think of Golden State Warriors, where 73-9, historic season, didn't win. So of course you want to get that cherry on top.
Here is the standings, so you can take a peek at the race, which is super compelling on the bottom end of things and more exciting. And that's something that we're going to be watching by the second.
Woo! I'm telling you right now. So look right there. Like, we are in the thick of it right here. You have Dallas. I even almost bumped them out of it. At this point, they could be second or fall to ninth. So they're almost pretty much in. But you look at Atlanta, Minnesota, Washington, even LA, it's such a tight race because we're all about to be playing each other as well. Atlanta plays LA tomorrow on Friday. So you know what I mean? It's like head-to-head competition. You could either fall or you could rise. And so this is exactly like, are you not entertained? It's like, this is what the people want. Everybody has to play every game throughout the stretch.
One of those teams fighting, as you mentioned, are the Sparks, and our Chris Miles got a chance to catch up with Jordin, Canada. Take a listen.
Let's welcome in 2-time WNBA champion Jordin, Canada. Thank you for taking the time and spending it with us. Look, for the Los Angeles Sparks, I look at your record this season, I look at the past couple of years, and I go, okay, still fighting for playoff position, but really on pace to have more wins than you've had in 4 years. From your perspective, coming in from, you know, a team in Seattle where you had 1 championship, and now being in a position where you're winning more than you did last year. How does it feel to be in that position and to feel like you're turning that corner?
Yeah, it feels good. You know, we talked about this being our rebuild year. And honestly, that this is exactly what it is. We understand that, you know, in the beginning of the season, we had a lot of adversity with people being out and injuries and in and out of the lineup. But I think, you know, towards the end of the season, we're really starting to find our flow and our chemistry together and, you know, just connecting on the court and off the court. And, you know, we're starting to click at the right time, which is super important when we're fighting for playoff position. And, you know, right now we're just trying to lock in these last 9 games and making sure that we end the way we want to end going into playoff.
Again, you mentioned that journey and that 48 win streak where you're like, okay, it's coming together now. What was the catalyst behind that? Like, what are you pointing like, all right, let's stay with the winning formula there?
I think just being aggressive. That's our identity, is when we get after it and we throw the first punch. I think in the beginning of the season, we were a little up and down in that, but I think these last 4 games, we've come out very aggressive, and, you know, we have the intention on disrupting on the defensive end and then getting good open shots on the offensive end and being able to knock those down. And I think that's what you're starting to see, is that we're playing well off of each other. We're feeding off of each other. We're moving the ball well. And that's kind of been our identity the last 4 games.
Now, I know every player wants a bigger role, an increase in stats, but this feels like the year for you in that way, right? Like I mentioned, you come into the league, you win 2 championships, then you're like, okay, bigger role, career year, scoring, minutes, rebounds, assists, across the board. What do you attribute to that particular progression this year?
I think, honestly, just getting my confidence back and getting back to my old self like I was when I played at UCLA. I feel more comfortable. And just having the confidence in myself and putting in that work in the off season and trusting the work that I put in and wanting to get better. And, you know, my teammates and my coaches just giving me that green light to play freely and to, you know, do what I do. And I think, you know, I credit them and I credit the work that I put in off season, but it's more so anything the mental side of it, just getting back to who I was and feeling comfortable in that and being confident in that as well.
We see so many McDonald's All-Americans like, okay, that's an accolade they have. But for you, it's about being involved even now as a pro. Can you tell me why that's so important to you and what you've been up to with the Ronald McDonald House?
Yeah, when I was a McDonald's All-American in 2014, I went in Chicago, you know, just being around those children, it really impacted me. And so when I got back to LA, I knew that there was a Ronald McDonald House, and I just wanted to give back as much as possible. That's something that's super important to me, community and giving back to the youth. But I wanted to do it in a different way. I wanted to be able to, you know, give back to children who are, you know, not as fortunate as I am, and give them opportunities for them to feel important as well. You know, you often think about kids that are, you know, super healthy or involved and are active in whatever they choose to be active in. But I think for me, it was all about looking at the other side of kids who, you know, don't get as much attention. And I think it's super important for me to shed light on that and to make them feel special. And so I got a chance to do a collaboration with Ronald McDonald of creating a PE shoe and having the kids paint on this big giant canvas, and they got to paint whatever they wanted, and Jordin put it on this shoe and it came out beautifully. And then I had some of the families come to the game against Atlanta on August 12th, and they got to be in the suite and they got to watch the game, and I got to meet some of the kids and the families, and it was just, you know, it was just all about connecting with them and making them feel special, and they had a great time, and I enjoyed doing that. So just giving back to them as much as possible is something that's really important to me.
Now, we know you're elite as a basketball player, right? And you got 3 games, 5 days, so you're busy right now, but when the season is over, you got some studio time booked? Did you releasing an album? Like, what's the latest in?
You know, I hope to do that in the near future. I will be going to Australia this off season to play, so I will still be playing basketball. But I really do want to focus on music at some point. So hopefully next year I'll be able to get into the studio and hopefully create that album that you're talking about. That is a goal and a dream of mine, is to create an album. So hopefully I'll be able to do that soon.
Maybe sing the national anthem, something so everyone else can see your talent. Jordin Canada, thank you for spending some time with us. We appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
Well, a big thanks to Jordin and to Chris. All right, Monday in Brooklyn, we will see a clash of the super teams and the superstars as Asia and Stewie meet up for the final time in the regular season.